All right. Hi, my name is Michael Becher. I'm with Independent California, and I'm here to talk about why all undocumented citizens in the state of California need to become citizens immediately, and how California can no longer sustain itself with a permanent underclass resident in the state. So I'm going to speak to my panelists here, Shankar, Singam, Felix, and we're going to go through the issues of how we can make this possible, what state laws exist that allow us to make a good claim for this, and how immigration would work in California as a truly transformational form of immigration and no longer relying upon old, outdated practices of sovereignty of birth or random selection by aiding in a military war, or the current lottery system we have now, an equitable, accurate, and legitimate way to make people who want to come here and be part of the great California that we've built, this beautiful state, and they want to come here and make it better. And I want to discuss the ways in which we can do that and the absolute guarantee of benefits that come with that kind of inclusion. So let's get it started. Where would you like to go with this?
I need you to cover what the initiative is going to propose, or what the legal.
Okay, so here's the proposition. A citizen, currently in federal law as it is defined, is done by location of birth. I think that's a little bit random. I think what makes a citizen is connection to a community. So we've started a philosophical idea, which is that a citizen of California is a citizen of California by a transformational process to being embedded within the society, meaning that they're, as an economic entity, they're generating money for the state, they're creating jobs, they're paying money, we're paying them, they're allowed to raise their families here, they become an influential part of the cultural fabric of the state. So to do that, to enact that kind of transformation, I think what's necessary is that they go through a process, a simple process. Anybody can come, anybody can go through this process. About 5 years is what I would say. So they arrive, they register, 5 years, this is what they have to do. Within that 5-year span, they have to earn an income. I don't care if they get a job, I don't care how they do it particularly, just that they earn an income and pay taxes. That shows that they're contributing to the welfare of the state immediately right off the bat. Second is they have to, I don't have any references here. I forgot it. Marcus.
Yeah, well, it's largely based, if I remember correctly, you were pointing out that the California Franchise Tax Board already has a criteria list for what qualifies as a resident. And it's things like, do you pay taxes? Are you part of a nonprofit? Have you volunteered? How long have you been here? Or do you have friends and family in the area? Do you take mail? Sort of things like that that are based upon you're part of the community.
So it would be, do you have a job? Are you earning money?
Mm-hmm.
Are you purchasing goods and services in your community?
Yeah.
Can members of your community vouch for you as a contributing part of society?
Right.
And I forgot what the last one that you came up with was.
The last one was you had to do a state service.
There you go.
You had to you had to do some kind of community service to show that you're trying to better the community in which you live.
So if you meet those 4 criteria, then you qualify for citizenship in California.
There you go. Sounds good. Does it sound good?
It's nice and simple.
Yeah. I mean, does. So I'm horrible at giving public addresses. So I'm going to turn it over to questions as quickly as possible. Shankar, ask me a question.
Certainly. The undocumented, how do you plan on getting the undocumented community, again, I know this topic was brought up before, how do you get them to believe you and because look, these people are coming from Mexico usually, and the corruption that goes on there, they don't believe politicians for anything. And so them coming over here and seeing the same thing, the last thing they're going to do is put their name on a list that the federal government can have access to. So how are we going to convince the undocumented people who this is going to benefit to hop on board with us?
The answer is we use the groups that already exist. We use their own networks already, and we're not asking them, we're asking their children, their current U.S. citizen children, to not step out of the shadows and endanger themselves at all, because that's the last thing I'd want anybody to do. What we're looking for here is we're looking for their children to come and support their mothers and their fathers and help bring them into this country legitimately, because the idea, and we're asking other Californians, which I think is a light ask, because considering the state of California, I mean, I don't think we're the kind of people that tolerate the idea of some kind of second-class citizenship or some kind of people we can take advantage of easily. I think we believe each other to be equals, and I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Questions from the audience about the idea of making California undocumented full citizens, at least under California law?
So how would it work, since you're proposing this while we're still within the United States system, how would it work as far as California citizenship? Would the U.S. Laws on citizenship supersede the California laws? Would it still be under the same principles of the United States? Or can we establish that if Californians do vote for this, then the United States has no say on how we naturalize California?
Okay, so one thing is California is sovereign. The federal government is not. The federal government exists by granting of power to basically each state is its own sovereign entity, and it grants the power of sovereignty to the federal government. So it exists by our acquiescence. So yeah, we can make our own citizens. We have land. We're a sovereign place. We can make our own citizens. Every citizen of California is currently a dual citizenship at this very point within the state and within the federal government. As to which law has supremacy, I say our law has supremacy. Because fuck them.
Exactly.
That's right.
He's absolutely right. I don't think Californians realize it's years of indoctrination, guys. We've grown up, hand over our hearts, pledging allegiance to the flag. They've indoctrinated us to believe that their supremacy over this state and where we live is ingrained in stone. It's not. It is not. We have to get our fellow Californians to believe that they are Californians first before everything else will happen after that naturally. I mean, people always ask me, how are you going to get independence to happen? Where's the blueprint? I don't have a blueprint. The Founding Fathers don't have a blueprint. But what they did have, they believed that they were Americans and they were not British. That was the first and foremost thing they had to believe in. And that's what we got to do. That's our job. It's just really that us in the movement, it's really that to convince our neighbors and our friends that we are Californians. Because guys, we can't ask, the slave can't ask the master to be free.
That's right.
A slave can't go to the master and go, oh, I'm following your rules, I'm playing by your rules, can I go free? There's just no way that's going to work. The slave has to do it on his own.
Damn right.
And move his own, and that's what we got to do. It's that simple.
That's fucking beautiful. Thank you. So the simple fact of the matter is the state of California is the sovereign state of California. Exactly. Just like there's a sovereign state of Texas and there's a sovereign state of Maine, the federal government is not sovereign. So, yeah, and we already do it. I think the people are up for it. We smoke weed illegally. What else do we do illegally?
Sanctuary City.
We have sanctuary cities illegally.
Marriage.
You name it, we'll do it.
Okay, and last question on that is when do you guys plan to present that initiative? Is it in the near future or is it?
Right now, what we want to do is we want to do as was suggested. We want to build a coalition of immigrants' rights groups to help bring people together around this to show that there's a body there that's willing to vote people into state office so that our state representatives will be encouraged to make this law. And if they're not encouraged enough to make this law, well, then we'll make the law ourselves using the power of plebiscite.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else?
Shankar, do you want to say a few things about this?
Yeah,
We'll play rotating chairs.
Please.
thank you.
Here.
Thank you, Michael.
Let's just trade.
Thank you.
All
All right.
Around to the back, take my chair.
By the way, this is I like this jacket here.
Okay.
So, my name is Shankar Singam, Independent, California. Just to touch on what he was saying with his citizenship for undocumented, Mike actually also wrote a citizenship initiative for current residents. So current residents with a DMV driver's license, also American citizens, we want to make them all California citizens. And what that's doing for them is guaranteeing them rights and liberties that the United States cannot guarantee, whether that's
They will not guarantee.
Voting rights.
They will not guarantee.
they will not guarantee voting rights, women's rights, immigration rights, workers' rights, environmental rights, animal rights, even things the United States cannot provide. California is going to be able to provide that, and that's why that's the reason for that citizenship. And when Mike was writing this citizenship for residents, is when he's like, hey, let's take it a step further. Let's go with the undocumented as well. And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right with the undocumented citizenship. They're a huge part of this community. They're the backbone of this community. They deserve to have the same rights and freedoms and a say in the community which they believe in. Now, that citizenship, thank you. That citizenship. That citizenship initiative is coming out very soon. I'm thinking probably, hopefully January we'll be filing it. It's already written, everything's ready to go. But it's going to come out in conjunction with this. We are currently having a petition that's out right now. It's up on independentca.org. So independentca.org. Go to that website and cool. Was that Ren and Stimpy?
Video to the TV.
Oh, cool. It's going on independentca.org. If you go on there, you click on the petition, sign it. Now, that is a petition saying, asking the complaining to the governor, to the attorney general, the Becer, that you are not protecting us Californians from the federal government in kidnapping our residents, protecting them from the environment with the oil drilling off the coast and in our deserts and in the strip mining of our deserts, not protecting women's rights, not protecting immigrant rights, basically just leaving us out to hang from and get picked off by white supremacists who bring illegal firearms into our state and kill our residents. And we're not just going to stand here and take it anymore. And it's going to be a petition signed by thousands of Californians and immigrant groups, workers' groups, women's rights groups are going to be endorse it. And that petition is going to be filed in along with a lawsuit backing these people up, suing California for not doing its job, basically, and protecting itself. Now, what this is going to do is going to hopefully give our governor some teeth, some backbone in his fight against the federal government, because we all know this governor does not want to be part of the United States. I mean, he just basically took Trump off the ballot right now by not releasing his taxes. I mean, he's not even going to be on the ballot in California.
Newsom!
So it's not going to be our fault. It's not going to be our fault that Trump is reelected. It's definitely not going to be California's fault. So this is going to give him some backbone. We're suing him, and he's glad we're suing him. So that lawsuit, our citizenship initiative, that citizenship initiative is coming out. It's just a 1-punch, 2-punch, and a 3-punch to the federal government right there. So keep an ear out for that. So when it comes, please sign it. Have your undocumented friends sign it. You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter their name, if their name is on it or not.
Counts.
Exactly. It's the volume. It doesn't matter who's on it. It's just we need a lot of signatures on there just to show that we are representing Californians in this. So, any questions on any of that stuff, guys? The petition, citizenship,
No,
your lawsuit,
knock
yeah.
them out for the count.
Right.
Okay, cool.
That, as it stands now, the folks who don't have U.S. citizenship, the existing governments are not going to count them. That's, the idea of what you're doing, consulted, et cetera. They're not going to count it, but that doesn't mean we can't.
Exactly. I mean, this notion of asking the playing by the United States rules, playing by the federal government's laws, guys, forget about it. Forget about those rules. I don't know. Us in the movement should be embracing that. If anybody else in California, that's what we've got to tell everybody else in California.
Yeah.
That's what we've got to say. It's not selling them on an independent California. It's not telling them, oh, hey, let's secede. That's not how we're going to get them. We got to just get them to agree that they're Californians first. That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Have you considered the possibility of running a candidate for governor and lieutenant governor in California for 2022?
Yeah.
Interesting idea.
Just to throw it out there, yeah. Hopefully somebody in this room.
What?
Yeah. Right.
It'd be a spit in the face to federal government right there.
To add on to what Shankar was saying, with a slight, here's the point. We've already built a society in California, and it's up to us to basically protect it. It's not a federal society. It's not an American society. It's particular to us, and
Yes.
I think anybody here can see and recognize that.
Yeah.
To embrace or even contemplate or negotiate with the federal government about these kind of policies is to basically embrace our own destruction.
Yeah.
The people we rely on, the systems we rely on, and frankly the systems that work, which have made us so rich and prosperous, is what we're advocating here. That asking people to identify themselves as Californians is asking them to identify themselves for being part of a great and very successful culture that has managed to produce all this.
Yeah.
So the notion that secession is a fun idea or something you should do because damn the feds. No, this stuff is dangerous. And we as responsible people need to act accordingly to safeguard the things which make this state, this nation great. Put it specifically, our economic future and the economic future of our children depends on our ability to continuously have new arrivals.
Yeah.
And this administration's and any other administration's threat upon California's ability to do what California does so very, very well, which is adopt people from other countries and bring them into our fabric wholeheartedly. That is why we are so successful. And essentially getting behind this idea is getting behind your own success. And that's the only point I was trying to make.
Yeah.
I put it to you that if you were to run a candidate for governor, is that it leads immediately to the issue that if you become elected as governor, like any other under the United States Constitution, you have to swear an oath to follow the U.S. Constitution, and that's why it would create an instant crisis to have a governor who is simply saying, "I'm gonna follow my own counsel," or whatever it may be, or "I'm going to follow the spirit of the Constitution," but the government is wrong, or whatever. But I just think that is why it puts it right there. And then all the other thing is it only takes about 1 million votes to get about 6th on the primary ballot, because we're a top 2 state. And the person came in number 6 got under 1 million votes. And furthermore, if you have 5 candidates who all oppose independence, you have 1 candidate who's for it, there's a real good chance they're going to be second. They're going to be on the ballot in the general election. And so it's one of those some things I put that to you that maybe you could consider that.
I absolutely. Hal, okay, go ahead, Hal.
Actually, it was a question on the initiatives themselves.
Yeah.
Are we including anything in these to bring California citizenship before other sovereign nations for recognition? Because the recognition of this citizenship is what would be necessary to.
So look, I think you're right. I think you're kind of like jumping the gun a little bit more, because look, this citizenship initiative, the undocumented citizenship initiative, a governor candidacy, guys, we don't have a chance in hell winning any of this shit. You got to realize that. All this is to break it into the minds of your neighbors and your friends of California citizenship independence. Break it into their minds that, oh my God, is this possible? Because we're not going to win any of these. There's no way we're going to win a citizenship initiative. There's just no possible way. There's no way the governor is going to win on a independent. There's just no way. But guys, guess what this does? This gets the message out. It makes other people thinking of that as well.
Yeah,
and it starts changing the direction of how people think. That's all this is. This is all this is.
Yeah.
It's just changing the direction of how people think.
In that spirit, putting it before the government in Mexico.
I would love to.
Having them see having that
Sure.
government, El Salvador, all that.
Man, if
Having them see these efforts.
if 51% of Californians identified as Californians before Americans, yeah, let's go to Mexico and show them what's up. Now we got the back of our citizenship. Yeah, let's go and show to other countries and let's get their backing. But let's just start changing minds, guys.
Yeah.
Let's start changing minds.
The point is that people need to understand that California belongs to Californians first.
Right.
And that we know what we're doing. We've been doing it a long time in this state. We know how to do it. And fuck, why don't we? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
It's
it's
mind-boggling.
We haven't proven that we can because we've more than shown that we can. So it's just idiocy that we would continue to follow. Frankly, these crackpots and cranks off whatever cliff they want to drive themselves. Let California be California. It's fine with me. It's fine with everybody else. Let's just do it.
I think that's it. I think that's it.
So we're gonna go to Felix, if you talk
You know
about, and then we'll do rotating chairs.
Yes.
So, undocumented raids, how do we stop that, or isn't it unfair?
To answer that question, it's definitely unfair. It's,
Describe it a little bit.
I mean, it's chaos.
Yeah.
It's utter chaos.
Tell me
It's
what's
we
going
have
on.
we have people. I mean, Jesus, it's a little tough to know exactly where to start. This sort of proposition is long overdue. I mean, the idea that we need to start building a Californian identity first before we actually bring it to any foreign nation. That's kind of what I was leading to in the previous panel. I was asked, how do we guarantee our Latin American brothers and sisters any form of protection? And the answer is that, well, not the answer. The truth is that we can't. It's just not possible. California, under current state federal law, has no actual structure, has no actual legal or any means to actually give us any real protection. Like I said, and I want to emphasize this because this is not a small issue, a small matter. We can no longer, as a Latin American, can no longer renew our own legal passports. We are going up to the feds and, going through all the processes, all the legal means, being, hey, I came here legally. This is the paperwork that you require of me. I am giving it to you. And still, they're saying that we are not allowed, that we are not equal to them, that we are illegal. And it doesn't make sense. We're born here. I was born here. This is the people being backed up by the ACLU were born here, and they're still not able to process legal documentation. Now, tell me, why is that? Truth is because they're brown, because they got Rodriguez or something in there, and some EZ in the.
Yeah, they have a Z in their name.
They have a Z in their name. It's just, or an X or
Wait
some.
a minute. Take a second. Make that clear. That it's that they're brown and no other reason.
It's sad. Yeah, that's exactly it. They're
I mean,
brown.
Could I? Let's say I was from I don't know, France or Norway or something. Would I get an okay? Would I get a stamp? Of course.
As long as you don't say anything, you would.
Of course you would.
As long as you have speaking American, I mean, as long as you're able to do the whole, hee haw and everything, you're gonna get the okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I
They estimate there are 6,000 illegal European.
Yep.
Nothing to do with that. Nothing.
Yeah. And because they're white. Because they're white and they're not saying anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mere technicality.
You know, the second largest group that's being detained at the border are Indians.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
And the only reason that is because they're brown too, man.
Yeah. We like to point at this current Trump administration and be like, this is the origin of all our woes. This is the beginning of the problem. No, it's been a problem. It's literally what founded America. The westward expansion. We can get into the whole historical context. The manifest destiny. Just how truly racist and bigoted that was, just to expand to the west and literally steal indigenous land and Mexican sovereign soil. It's too easy to point out the fact that Trump's racist. right? Well, America has it's too easy, and that just doesn't that just falls on deaf ears because everybody can see it and everybody can say, yeah, he's racist. Now what? Well, we have to look at our neighbor and realize that he's a racist too. This isn't us versus them. This is them going up against us and wanting us out of California, out of the United States. And we have to truly, like I said, this form of proposition is long overdue. I mean, California, being the 5th largest economy in the world, has to step up its game and truly protect its backbone. The Latin American
I would
community.
agree. I mean, our 5th largest economy in the world is reliant upon this system of integration, of come north, we will take you. We have work for you. We're prepared. And we lose that if that stops.
Yeah.
So if someone in Wisconsin wants to maintain a racist policy and keep the Browns out or whatever, then they can feel free. But that's a direct threat to our society. It's ludicrous.
Yeah, no, this is why I mentioned in the previous panel that it's just too easy when you know that you're protected by federal law to go up to an ICE agent's house and bang some pots together and tell him to go back east or whatever, or tell him that he has. It's easy to protest when you're being protected by the feds. The truth is that we're going up against the feds and we're telling them to get out of here, right? And it's just not the same when you're putting yourself on the line, when you have to wake up every morning at 3 a.m., get ready, go out to the fields, work, whatever, 12 hours a day under 100-day heat. It's just not the same. When you know that if you come back or if you don't get detained by ICE agents out in the fields or wherever the ICE raid is at, that maybe when you get home, your kid's not going to be there, or that you might not make it back to your kids. Because you got stopped by some police officer, and it's just a deeper issue. And again, I want to call out to our land community. La verdad, es sumamente importante que nos juntemos, que nos demos cuenta que realmente hay protección en números. Sí.
Sí,
Está la idea de que, entre más unidos estamos, entre más podemos darnos cuenta que realmente no somos. Estando en California, yo no soy mexicano. Estando en California, soy californiano. Si soy de Honduras y estoy aquí, realmente me doy cuenta que, no importa, mi compañero puede ser de Chiapas, me veo, para un gringo, para un blanco, me veo igual. ¿Sí? O un hindú, un indio, se puede ver igual a un mexicano. Y eso es lo que la gente no se da cuenta. Entonces, estando aquí en California,
sí.
Tenemos que juntarnos, tenemos que darnos cuenta que tenemos que dejar de tener ese miedo de que quizás no regrese a casa. ¿Sí? Realmente es un tema muy delicado, es muy, muy importante reconocer que a pesar de las diferencias de idioma, por ejemplo, el lenguaje, nada más, de que mi forma de hablar, es sumamente importante darse cuenta que somos iguales. Sí. We're all the same. Doesn't matter if I'm speaking English. Doesn't matter if I'm speaking Spanish. We're all the same. We're under the same threat. Tomorrow I could probably not have my U.S. passport. Maybe I could be deported tomorrow just by being here. That's to the degree that we're getting here. It's no longer the fact that I'm safe because I'm a lighter complexion. I have less melanin than Shankar, for example. It's just not coming down to that anymore. It's as long as you are different from the American ideology and you're just not white or Christian, you're a foreigner. And it's been a long time coming. But this is the reality that California has lived since it became a part of the Union. If you weren't white and you were living in California or anywhere west of the Mississippi, the truth is that you just weren't seen as American.
Yeah.
And up until now, the white male man is realizing that, hey, he's coming under that boot too, and we're now realizing that we truly are not equal. So this is what this whole movement's about. This is what this legislation is about, and it's been long overdue. We really need to reach out to our Latin American brothers, to our Black Lives Matter. Everybody needs to realize that as long as we're under the American federal government, we have no guarantee. We have brothers and sisters who are serving right now, and they're going to come back home to a nice rate, and they're going to be deported. It doesn't matter if you have legal registration. We just had a kid from Texas in one of the concentration camps for how long? What, 2-3 months?
Yeah.
Yeah? I mean, that's outrageous.
Yeah.
He was born in Texas. He is in Texas. Think about that. Texas. It just doesn't make sense. The problem is that he wasn't white.
Exactly.
And he doesn't. You listen to him. He doesn't even sound Mexican. You know.
He sounds-
I have a harder time speaking in English to you guys than that kid. I mean, it's just bizarre.
He's like the third or fourth who's been American citizen, young person who's been locked up. for an
And
extended period of
honestly,
time. Denied
yeah,
access to an attorney, by the way, which is a Sixth Amendment right.
Yeah.
And just treated like.
So when we have
Another wetback, I guess.
exactly. So when we have the federal government ignoring federal law,
Ignoring
the literal Constitution, exactly, literally ignoring the original amendments, the original articles within the Constitution. When we have that happening, there is no guarantee. We can no longer rely on the righteousness or of the Constitution to defend our human rights. Or the Bill of Rights is just being violated as we speak right now.
And we can't even rely on the federal courts
No, we can't.
because they're being stocked with Trump appointees.
Yes.
Right.
I want to say the irony thing, what you just pointed out is the fact that the southern states in 1861 went to war because the federal law was being enforced.
Mhm.
We're talking about a situation where federal law is being ignored.
The opposite.
Isn't that an irony?
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
What's up?
Who can we rely on?
Us, Californians.
You
man.
and me. We
That's
can only
right.
rely on our brothers and our sisters and ourselves to push this form of legislation forward, to push this. And we have to understand that this is peaceful. See, this is legal. What we're talking about is using our political tools to push towards,
A political.
just safety,
Yeah.
freedom. That's it. We have under the laws and guys that we have today, we have these tools, and that's what we're doing.
All right.
You just need
So-
the numbers.
Well,
Got questions? Or
I don't know what to say.
He has a question.
Yes, so I'm going to ask my question again about the problem with immigrants being afraid to come out and protest and demand their rights because they're afraid of ICE because of this. So what is your opinion on solving that problem? Is it what I think? Is it an independent California? Can they only be protected if we are independent? Because as long as the federal government is in there, they are going to be afraid to come out unless we can say as Californians, you are protected by California. And the federal government doesn't get to come and deport you or do anything like that. So what is your opinion on that?
Can I actually take that one? Would that be okay with you?
what was it?
Can I actually take that question?
Yeah. Go ahead.
The answer is that the people. The
That's
simple fact of the matter is all power in any government or any situation comes from people. So at the end of the day, it's the people of California who will protect the people of California. So you can make any kind of a fisherdom that you like. You could create any kind of name, however you may see it. But the simple fact of the matter is it's people who protect people from other people who would steal them away.
That's right. The only people we can rely on is our neighbors, is on our brothers, is in myself to do what needs to be done, write the legislation, fight for the legislation, fight for the people, fight for myself, fight for my own right to stay here, and truly live out the life that is in the Declaration of Independence of the United States. You know, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. I mean, come on, where's that at? You know? So, to answer your question specifically, you know, how to get the how to convince everybody, not just the Latin American community, because the problems that and the worries that the Latin American community have or currently has is that, you know, they might be taken away. See, now take a moment and realize that that's the same fear, that's the same concern that white Americans now have living in California. See, so it literally becomes the same issue. See, the way to reach out to the Latin American community is going to be the same way that we're going to have to reach out to white Californians or European Californians, literally anybody outside of this Latin. I mean, I come here, you know, to specifically represent the Spanish-speaking community, right? But the truth is that regardless of the language barrier, our concerns are the same. See, and we have to pander to that reality, not realization, to that reality, and to really push for this and truly protect ourselves.
And so I just would like to tie it back to California independence being an argument, a venue to achieve that goal ultimately. Of course, like Mike says, we need to get the people behind it and everything, but an independent California with its own laws, immigration. And
No,
this,
absolutely.
guarantees protection much more than just the people saying, you know, we're going to protect you and everything. Because now
absolutely,
we got
because
a structure of government that says we can protect you. The federal government can't come. It's not just the people of California, but now it's a government of California. It's our own nation saying that the federal government, just like they can't come after Canada or France or anything on their immigration policies, then we have that structure where they can no longer. So I just wanted to tie it back to independent California. Again, as many things that we talked about today is a solution for many of these problems inherently.
So the easy way to answer that loaded question is obviously yes, you know, and nobody gains more, nobody gets more out of this situation than the person living in California, right? Doesn't matter if you're black, brown, white, you know, gay, whatever, the LGBTQ, it doesn't matter, whatever. You can have your own friggin' religion. This is as American as it comes if you really want to pander to that American mythology, you know, the true right to do anything, right? And yes, the only way to truly protect our right to stay here, you know, without having the fear of a federal agency, American federal agency coming in, is to be independent. There's just no way around it. We could propose to have a governor or a candidate run for governorship, but I mean, he's gonna have to answer to the feds one way or another.
No, he wouldn't.
Yes, he would.
That's my point. You need a governor who's got the guts and the cleverness to, and maybe, you know, and also someone who's working with getting foreign support.
So theoretically, yes, I see where this angle is coming from, but truly, it's not just the executive. See, no, because it's like.
But I can say, and the ultimate point is, the governor actually has troops, which, you know, and then there might be a civilian home guard that backs that group up as well, and it can become very clear of just, you know, if you want to go down the road of violence, we'll give you all the violence you can handle.
That's just not. That's just.
Can I get into the policy discussion?
Sure. Just let me address that issue.
Believe the federal government would actually push that line. That's a line they don't want to cross.
No, they'll.
Especially because
they'll cross it. They'll definitely cross it.
Remember, California contributes more members of the military to the military.
Yeah, but we got to remember they've been indoctrinated. We have to remember that. All right. The part, man, this is such a big point. That's just such a hard. That's just and no. Hold on.
Here, let me rephrase the question.
Thank you.
Do you think that Is it just enough to elect a governor who would demand this?
Definitely
or would it
not.
need to be more?
It would definitely need to be more.
What would it have to be then?
The ultimate goal here. This is why we're all here. This is why we agree on meeting here. Is that the only way to really guarantee any form of right, without having the other 49 governors, kind of like giving their own 2 cents, is independence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So we have to understand that we live in a decentralized. We still live in a decentralized. No, I'm talking about the executive power is not concentrated. We live in a
separation of powers.
Yeah, we live in a society where separation of powers exists. So we can't just depend on one heck of an awesome governor saying the right things. We also have to depend on the state assembly. We also have to depend on the courts. We have to depend on the whole government machine, right? And unless you live in a dictatorship, or
Back up a little bit. When I say
Huh?
governor, because with the governor, they have to be elected. In other words, you've already got the political support behind that governor, who would now be able to speak for California. But it ultimately comes down to the people, of course. But that the people need to have a representative. They need to have someone who speaks, and they need to have them even better if they have an entire government that will represent them. That's why
then why doesn't the United States have a more representative government already?
Can I
That's
come in
right.
here?
Yep.
We have 3 more panels to do,
Yeah.
and I need to do
Okay.
a policy
Yeah, we
discussion.
just-
So
Let's have one.
sorry.
Yeah.
Let's open up
Let's
that-
play rotating chairs. Okay. There are people who have to leave within an hour, and I promised them that I would give them a shot. So, okay. I'm going to do a really quick, very boring policy discussion on the tidbits of
Wait a
everything they're
second.
talking.
Sorry. I shut it off for a moment. Okay. You're rolling. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to do a policy discussion on the 2 initiatives that were initially being discussed, initiated.
Initiatives that were initially initiated.
So the first one was about making undocumented immigrants full citizens. The Calexit movement had originally proposed an initiative in 2015 that was approved by Kamala Harris. Yes, the Kamala Harris said it was okay to do that, and it actually was going in for the signature phase. Additionally, a UC Davis School of Law dean said that it was worth talking about. And what it had done was it took the law by Luis Alejo, whereby undocumented immigrants were given driver's license, and it said if legally the DMV is part of the California government, and it can on its own then say, well, we're going to determine who we serve. And it's not going to be based upon federal regulations. So if somebody comes in and we say, I recognize you as a California resident, then it doesn't matter if you have U.S. citizenship or not. You get a DMV driver's license. That's what that Luis Alejo law said. Since it's not been challenged and has stood, it has withstood challenges for the last couple of years. That means it's legal precedent. If it is legal precedent for a California agency to begin to recognize undocumented unilaterally from the federal government, and the feds don't say anything about that, then what is there to stop every other agency in the California government from doing the same thing? Legally nothing. Which means that we as Californians are legally cleared all the way to have the California government treat undocumented citizens and full American citizens as literally indistinguishable. We don't do anything like that today. We're talking about the California government. Yes, we need to be independent, but doing something where we say to the undocumented, we see you as full citizens, and we are no longer going to distinguish between you and American citizens. That being proposed will get in front of every single Spanish-speaking person in California, I promise you. And it will happen within a day. You want to get Latinos to pay attention, you have to do something that they go, damn, that's ballsy.
Yeah.
Wow, that guy really stuck it out there for me. Wow, I don't see other people doing that because they're used to political parties talking the good talk. How many times have we seen liberal progressive politicians who got the Latino vote say, I'm going to work hard to make undocumented immigrants full citizens? 8 years later, nothing. Yeah, they got played.
So you have to go way beyond. And then they go, damn, that's different. So the Democratic Party, the Libertarian Party, Union del Barrio, Raza, everybody, no one is proposing something as bold as saying the California government will treat citizens and undocumented equally. Period. End of story. You want to get their attention? You file that initiative. $2,000. We're in the game. Now, I initially loved that idea and was going around going, hey, we got our undocumented game done. We're set. And then there was this upstart, let's call him, who's sitting here at the table. He goes, yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's good. But let's say I'm recognized as full citizen by California, and then ICE comes and takes my kid away from me. What then? I'm living in terror. What are you going to do about it? You said you care about me. What's the plan? And I had to admit that I missed the boat. I was challenged. You pushed me further than I was comfortable going, and I thank you for that. That doesn't happen very often. Just doesn't. So I did some digging, and again, we can file another initiative. Now, this one may not become full law. However, I do believe we can write it in a way where it would get approved for signature gathering. And I want to point out to everybody, you don't have to get all the signatures to change the game. The way the law works in California is that if you get 25% of the signatures, they have to, no choice, must have a hearing in Sacramento with cameras and all the legislators and you talking about what is it you wanted to do? So picture that. Sacramento goes, well, you didn't get enough signatures to make undocumented full citizens, but we're going to have TV cameras and the entire legislature talk about making undocumented full citizens. I'll ask you the question. Do you think that's going to piss off America, or are they going to go, that's fine? Now who's in the game? Number two, so with that, I want to propose the less rigidly standard initiative that I still want to pursue. I've been working with Felix on this, and it goes like this. In Montana, they love their guns. Boy, they love them. Don't you dare take my gun away. So a lot of the people there got upset that the federal government would go, you don't get to have a 50 caliber machine gun mounted to the top of your car. I'm sorry, that's illegal. And they said, oh, these people, these feds taking my guns. So they got so upset, they wrote a law. And it says this: no federal agent can conduct any raid in Montana without running it by the county sheriff first. And if the county sheriff says no, you don't get to do it. And if you do it anyways, the county sheriff can go and arrest you. Huh. That passed Montana law. It would be law there if the governor didn't strike it down. They did it 3 times and passed it 3 times. So there's something going on there. So if you go to Medium, type in my name, you'll see an article titled, if the federal government won't enforce federal law, why should we abide by it? If you're a citizen and you can't get your passport renewed, that's against federal law. If you're a citizen and you are detained without a trial and without being informed of your crime, that's against the federal law. Well, that's happening a lot. If you are in a detention camp without toothbrushes and soap and sanitary conditions, that's against the Flores Rule, which is a Supreme Court amendment, which is against the federal law. So Felix pointed out to me, if the feds won't even follow their own law, why do we have to listen to them? I propose today, and this is the first time we have presented this, it's not fully baked, but we're going to do it. We want to take the Montana law and modify it so that if the federal government wants to conduct raids on undocumented immigrants, they wrote it very generally. We're going to siphon it down to just undocumented immigrants. They must get permission from the county sheriff. The county sheriff says, no, you can't do it. If they do it, it would instruct the county sheriffs to go and arrest them. Now picture that. Excellent. California passes a law. I didn't say it wasn't going to be struck down by federal courts. I just said we passed the law as citizens, which By the way, if you look up the initiative law, California passes initiatives all the time that are unconstitutional. We love doing it, and we don't care. Let me. So we get this law out there. Maybe it is struck down, but California says they're going to start arresting ICE officials.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to send a symbol to the federal government that we're going to do our own thing and we don't give a damn what you say?
Yeah.
We only also have to get 25% of the signatures in order to have the California government have a hearing on arresting federal officials. Do you think the federal government's going to pay attention to Sacramento had a televised hearing about arresting federal officials on undocumented immigration ICE raids? Yeah, I think they do. February, let me get, there's a couple more points. February 2017, they did a poll amongst Californians. 65% said, I'm okay with ignoring the federal government and we do our own thing for immigration. 65%. So don't tell me we can't get the signatures and we can't get the votes. Yeah, it might get struck down, but think of the massive, we aren't listening to you anymore. And we're not playing games and we're not being nice. This is real. And you're going to have to come down here and wrestle us into abiding by the law. And that's peaceful and legal to do. So we modify that. And I do want to point out there is a precedent to arrest federal officials. Doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. Happened once in Utah, happened once in Colorado, happened twice, more than any other state, in California, 1975 and 2003. Federal officials killed Californians, and they said, that's murder. You're going to be arrested. And they arrested them and then put them in jail. Yes, they handcuffed a federal official, walked him in the jail. You sit there. Now, here's what happens. The federal court immediately sends a request to the county court and says, I need you to move this trial to a federal court. The county immediately agrees. Then the federal court immediately takes up the course and says, immunity, you're free to go. We can still arrest that person. And what if county officials said, oh, I'm going to abide by federal law. I'm busy. Man, I got my kids and stuff. So look, I got stuff to, look, next week I'm going to return. I promise you, I will get back to you. And then what happens if the jail officials are like, oh, damn, where was that? I was supposed to release that guy. I got this stack of paperwork. It's going to take me 5 days to get through this. No, we're not going to release him. I'm busy. And then federal officials who conducted an ICE raid feel like they're an undocumented immigrant themselves. Unlimited detention. Now, I didn't say they don't get a get out. I didn't say refuse federal orders. I said take your sweet time. They're going to send someone to check every single county clerk and go, you could have moved those papers faster. No, they don't do that. So you sit in prison or jail for 2 weeks because you arrested an undocumented person without permission. Yeah, you're legal and you can go back to work. And then your boss comes up and says, hey, let's go do another raid. And you say, yeah, it's called a legal chilling effect. Legal, peaceful, doesn't permanently stop it, but you want to talk about putting the fear of California into federal officials, that'll do it. And we can propose that. Thoughts, questions?
I just want to make the very clear statement that we need to be as peacefully radical as possible. We are literally dealing with human lives here. If we are, as California, unable to protect our own citizens, our own residents, exactly, thank you, our own residents, we got nothing to do here. We truly have to step up our game. We really have to get together and realize that this type of legislation is what's going to protect us. This is the answer that to the questions that were asked earlier. This is the way. And when the feds come and they say they don't like it, we're gonna have to say too bad, bud.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to say too bad. These are your peaceful means that you have given me, that you have granted me to do to acquire justice, to get to freedom and this equality that you as a federal United States agent love so much, right? So yes, the only way forward is for California to act independent from the United States. Independence will come eventually. It truly will. It's the only course of action that this type of antagonism from the United States leads to, right?
In a sense, we're already doing that with the Paris climate change accords.
Oh yeah.
We
Yeah.
recognize them even though the U.S. haven't. What if we recognize the Rome Statute governing crimes against humanity? That would give us what is known as universal jurisdiction, same like the German court, to start lifting officials like the gentleman in Long Beach.
Yeah, international UN law.
Charging you with a crime against humanity, because we, California, recognize the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. We have the authority to do that.
That's right. That's right.
Okay,
Which statute in particular will we use? Is
Well,
there?
the Rome Statute establishes the International Criminal Court. And
No, I'm saying, is there a statute in particular that would allow, I don't know, unlegal or unwillful dispensations of people? In other words, to snatch people up.
It wouldn't be that. If they would be charged in a California court with a violation of the Rome Statute governing crimes against humanity. The Rome statutes make illegal genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and military aggression.
We do that. We have to lock up every single federal agent.
Yeah, look at
Every single
yeah.
American agent, yeah.
The UN, I forget his title. The UN had already told the federal government, you can't hold these people indefinitely. You're breaking international law. They already know they're breaking the law.
Yeah. But
We're not doing anything about it.
What the Rome Statute does, it does a couple of things. One, it establishes a court to try cases for violation. And these go clear back to Nuremberg, actually.
So we established a court here in California?
Well, what we do is we use our existing courts. This happened in Germany.
Yeah.
This is why Dick Cheney
Yeah,
didn't want
Nuremberg.
to leave the U.S. Because once you file charges under those statutes, you have universal jurisdiction. You can demand extradition wherever they're at, including the U.S. You can request Interpol.
Who's gonna back us?
I'm sorry, but I got to fit a few more panels in, so we're going to have to conclude this panel, and then we're going to move on. Great discussion. We will be back. Thank you very much.
Hey,